Hello everyone and welcome. It's 11:30 a.m. We're doing this webinar from Sydney today. Let's wait for a few more seconds and we'll get started. Starting to get through a good group of attendees. So we're really looking forward to this. It is the Modern Flexi Workplace webinar, or Workplace webinar for short. And the question that we are trying to answer is, how can you increase employee engagement with emerging technologies and see the results through business performance? My name is Ivan Sanchez, Client Executive at Frond, and I'll be your host for today. And for those of you who haven't heard about Frond, Frond Australia is in the business of helping companies transition to a new level of digitization in the workplace, whether that is through the implementation of day-to-day communications or collaboration tools, core business applications, and or cloud infrastructure initiatives to support businesses.
So in the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to dig into this topical issue of workforce flexibility and employee engagement. I'm very excited to be with two very respected professionals in the emerging technology space. Karim Balmain from Frond. Hi, Karim.
Hi, Ivan.
And Victor Vasica from Google. Hi, Victor.
Good morning, everyone.
Excellent. So let's get started. So this is one of those topics which creates interesting points of view, and it has certainly do so in social media in recent times. The intention today is that you can live with a clear path and a more informed perspective for those areas in which your organization can do more in terms of workplace flexibility and employee engagement. Certainly, technology is no longer the overhead used to be. Its exponential nature has now put digitization in the strategic asset map. And it is much easier for the business to enable modern technology into the business functions that help the IT organization than has ever been before. So when organizations consider new big hairy ideas, it is really the case that these days technology is not involved in these kind of initiatives. So beyond productivity, we think that there is an opportunity for you to work in a more modern way. Now, in this webinar, we're going to take you through a journey of what's possible from the eyes of businesses who have experienced business results and have seen an increase in employee engagement as the main driver for these results. We will describe what we see from our engagements with mid-size and large enterprises across Australia and New Zealand, the impact that this is having on businesses who decided on a status quo or dismiss the classes of data which reveal a clear trend. In the second part of the webinar, Victor Vasica, Head of Deployment Services at Google Australia, he's going to take us through the possibilities that are available to us. Victor's experience in transitioning enterprise in Australia will give us a good idea of what we're able to do these days with the right mindset and enough intention to change the game within normal business practices. Now let's imagine that we live in a world where going to work meant not actually being at work. Imagine that your talent is perhaps not located where your physical offices are located. We feel as businesses that are under great pressure to be able to move faster. The world is changing, and in some cases you have to make a fundamental decision. So as representatives of your businesses, do you feel you are going to be the disruptor in the market, or are you going to be the disrupted in the market? Are you going to be able to equip your organization with the right tools to be able to build consensus, make decisions, hear the voice of the average employee to be able to build the next generation set of solutions, products, and services? Or are you going to be trapped by the tools and the collaboration methods that we used over the last 30 years? And continuously to work less efficiently, to be slower to market, and be part of the organization element to be outpaced globally and locally. So, look, this is a good opportunity to hear from two experts of this space. We would like to take questions at the end of the presentation. We're going to go through the content, so feel free to pose your questions, and then there will be a Q&A right towards the end. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you and pass it on to Karim. Karim is Frond's Head of Emerging Technologies Practice. Karim has been helping organizations with the business transformation by the application of emerging technologies such as Google. Corinne has a wealth of experience in change management with more than 10 years of engagement with business community, and she is a certified professional ProSci, which is a well-recognized change management best practice accreditation for those of you that are not familiar with the certification. So very excited to have Corinne. Corinne, I'll hand it over to you.
Excellent, thank you, Ivan. Good morning, everyone. So Ivan, if we can go to the next slide, please. So the dilemma that many businesses experience today is the need to be flexible. So if we have a look at the following diagram, the possibilities for all types of employees to work anywhere, anytime with the right medium has become reality. If you think about your workforce, are they part-time workers, shift workers, contractors, perhaps they're even full-time remote workers? Would you say they are empowered to work flexibly? Some people want to have that work-life balance, and sometimes it's the policies and sometimes it's the technology that's actually causing some of these constraints. And it does make working flexible a challenge to both your employees and also your organisation. With that though, employees are finding ways to be flexible. They have phones, tablets, and they also use their own devices to access information when they want. The reality is that some of your employees are using 2 to 3 different devices throughout the day to work. Some are corporate issued, and some of these devices are not. So if we think about workplace flexibility, or workflex as we like to call it at Fronde, we want to have employees engaged, using the right technology to increase business performance. So here's a quote that we came across from the Harvard Business Review research. A growing body of research is demonstrating that a highly engaged workforce not only maximizes a company's investment in human capital and provides productivity, but can significantly reduce costs that directly impact the bottom line. And I think that this is a really important quote. And the key areas that I take from that are improve productivity, reduce cost, and impact to the bottom line. An engaged workforce is one that wants to come to work, has purpose, and wants to participate in the supporting goals of the organisation. They want to be involved and they want to come on the journey that the organisation wants them to be on. Your reality. So if we have a look at what most businesses are experiencing, we can look at a couple of areas. The cultural aspect. So employee engagement, sense of belonging. How do we engage with our employees? How do we get messages out to them? Currently, some businesses have no way of communicating consistently to all employees. Have a think about how are you communicating with your employees that are shift workers or part-time workers? How are you getting that messaging across? Do you have the right kind of engagement at the right time that doesn't cause distraction from day-to-day work? If we think about their workspace, do we have the right office or the right workplace environment for them? Data security. What about the security of employee data? There is lots of data in lots of places in many organizations. Some people may feel that you have everyone using every kind of technology, but do you have the control or the awareness of this? Fear of not being flexible enough. Flexibility. Maybe I won't attract the right talent or perhaps service my customers in a way that they might expect. And as I mentioned before, employees want flexibility in their life. They want that work-life balance. The ability to leave work early for family commitments and finish off their work in the evening. And perhaps if I'm not flexible, I might not be quick and competitive in the market. From a risk management point of view, I still want to manage risk even when we embrace flexibility. How do I ensure that there is compliance with health and safety rules, and how do I make sure that everyone's informed of this? A reduction of cost. Travel costs a lot, and some of us don't really want to travel. We want to see our family more. So how do we embrace that as part of our flexible working conditions or our work flex? What about future-proofing? I don't know how to cope with the workforce of the future. Outcomes focus versus turning up. People are more autonomous and they are more prone and want to use technology. And as I mentioned before, they will find a way to use technology. So another quote that we've come across also from the Harvard Business Review. They surveyed 550 executives around employee engagement and found that 71% of respondents rank employee engagement as very important to achieving overall organisational success. From an organisational perspective, productivity and efficiency really is a critical factor for organisations. In addition to pure employee economics, remember that the link between employee engagement and customer engagement is known to drive customer loyalty and growth. So our vision, Fronde's vision, and hopefully your vision too. Our model is to empower employees to work from any location, at any time, in any way that you want to work. Think about this. Have you ever thought it was possible to have a board meeting at the airport while you're waiting to board your next flight or to come home? Or perhaps when you're commuting to work, you might be on the train, you might be on the bus. You may also find that some of your employees may actually be more productive from working from another location, perhaps the local library or even their local cafe, and therefore you are going to get more out of them. The ideal vision, the big picture. So imagine a workplace where employees create and work on information together regardless of that location. They are empowered to use the technology that allows them to connect, share ideas, and feel like they're working side by side just as they were in the office. If you have employees that are engaged and able to give them that flexibility, you can benefit by having increased employee performance. You could also benefit by having increased employee satisfaction, which in turn will lead to customer satisfaction and a decrease in employee turnover. If we think happy staff equals happy customers. And of course, with a decreased employee turnover, that also helps you to retain IP within your organisation. And finally, there will be an overall increase in business performance. The question, what if we could be more flexible, is now a possibility. So at this stage, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce Victor Vasica, who is the Head of Customer Success, Google for Work, Sydney. Victor's been at Google for over 5 years and working closely with partners and customers in ANZ and across Asia. During Victor's time at Google, he and his team have been working on customers ranging from 100 to hundreds of thousands of customers, providing technical and change management best practices to ensure partners, such as Fronde, and customers get productive success in deriving business value on moving to the Google for Work platform. Thanks, Victor.
Thanks, Corinne, and good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. So we used to say that the way we work is changing, but actually it's already changed. Through technology, we are no longer chained to our desks, working on individual tasks. Looking back at what your first desk or office looked like, you probably had a bunch of physical things on the desk that you needed to use to get stuff done. Now, most of what you need to do can be achieved on a computer or actually a mobile phone. We're no longer tied to a physical place to do work, depending on your job, of course. So most researchers agree that there are 4 very different generations in the workplace today, ranging from the vets all the way through to the Gen Ys. And actually by 2020, it is expected that Gen Y will make up to 50% of the workforce globally. These digital natives have very different expectations of what they want from an employer. They expect real-time, collaborative tools and being able to work from anywhere, just like what they do in their personal lives. So the advances in technology means that the workforce has expanded. companies can now look for talent all over the world and not be bound to regional boundaries. I actually had dinner with my brother-in-law on Monday night, who works for a media production company working on the latest Hollywood movies. He does this from home with a team spread all over the world. He works online in real time to deliver production dates that are needed by Hollywood. This is one of the many examples where the way that he used to work in a physical office has changed. So I'm lucky enough to spend a lot of my time with executives in organisations. So when I speak to them about what it is that they are trying to achieve, typically it comes down to one or more of these four things. The efficiency is core. How do you do more less at work? Sorry, how do you do more with less at work? The only possible way to do this is becoming more efficient, making quicker decisions, streamlining processes, and the expectations of our customers are changing too. They expect immediate 24/7 response. So companies and industries are being challenged. Their company not being innovative is something that is keeping up our executives at night. There is a need to push or to launch faster, newer products and services into the market and finding newer, better, smarter ways to get things done. From a collaboration front, Deloitte published a recent study around workplace collaboration with interesting findings. When people collaborate, they work approximately 15% faster, with 73% of these people saying that they do better work and over half are more satisfied in their jobs. So finally, every company is looking for and wants to retain best talent. Digital tools are enabling connected, flexible ways of working, and they're all expected by Gen Ys today. So 18 months or so back, Google Australia commissioned Deloitte to quantify the value of workplace collaboration. The findings with that were actually very interesting. Companies that prioritize collaboration are, as the research showed, twice as likely to be more profitable, twice as likely to outgrow their competitors, and 5 times more likely to experience a considerable increase in employment. Yet, when speaking to our customers, and when Deloitte did this as well, more than half of Australian businesses have no collaboration strategy in place. As a result, there's a lot of customers missing out on very significant benefits. So whilst technology such as ours is a great enabler, where do you start? Well, collaboration, innovation and transformation is derived from the outset from strong executive leadership as a starting point. Getting stronger buy-in and support to focus on your people, culture and processes through a specific change management approach is fundamentally important to achieve any of these goals. Let me provide an example of a customer scenario to you. So the customer I'll talk about today is a very large Australian retailer who's undertaken a large transformation with Google. They had some large, but probably not uncommon challenges as you may think about your organisations. They had no way to reach all of their 200,000 plus staff. The store team members never had a digital identity, making them essentially unknown from an IT perspective outside of HR. They had no way to collaborate with these people. With retail in general having higher staff turnover in stores, how do you then maintain the culture and disseminate information to the deepest, most regionally distributed parts of your organisation? And finally, they had constraints around their legacy IT environment, which was inhibiting some flexibility and collaborative ways of working. So whilst the challenge was clear, what was important when thinking about the new platform to them? The new digital collaboration platform had to provide store communications with the support office. This was at its core. It had to be able to cater for all generations of workers, from baby boomers to the millennials. It had to be accessible from any device, app, or browser. And as expected, there was absolutely no compromise on speed and security of their data. Ultimately, it had to be easy, and it had to allow for self-service. Again, in the customer's own words on this slide, the move to Google provided a shift in how they think, behave, and interact. From being locked to their desks with VPN for the very few, to silos of users being reliant on face-to-face meetings in physical locations, legacy equipment challenges, and desktops and desktop-only tools providing a frustrating, inefficient user experience. Fast forwarding to today, the culture of sharing documents and collaborating in real time from any device and anywhere has become a reality. They're using a group-wide social platform, and they're hanging out, which is our video collaboration platform, in real time has just become the normal way of working, or of meeting today. The quote there from a managing director of one of their largest divisions says it all. Before the move to Google, it was impossible to get all 46 of the area managers on a single video call. This was the normal Monday morning meeting when you need insightful and impactful information from how the business went over the weekend, and getting that information in the hands of senior management was ultimately very important. So the impact of being able to do that whilst everyone was on the road on any type of device, a powerful moment. The next point then becomes how is all of this measured? The customer had 3 key measurement criteria for this program. Employee productivity, flexibility, and engagement for this were key to the program, and for this they created a business value dashboard, which you can see reflected. They used surveys with the same set of specific questions iterating over time. The time frame that you're looking at is approximately 18 months in duration, with the last metric being from early last year. The overwhelming trend is a positive in direction of high-level engagement, flexibility, and productivity through enablement of the same technology and capability to all staff. Collaboration and flexibility were two of the main specific areas that have seen the biggest impact as a result of this program. So in summary, we believe strongly that our tools provide real-time, a digital platform to unlock collaboration and drive efficiency, innovation and employee engagement in your organisation, with an ultimate outcome of attracting great talent to your company. Now with that, I'll hand it back to Ivan.
Great, thank you, Victor, and thank you, Corinne. I'm hoping that that's giving you a perspective, a kind of an idea of how organizations are thinking about the way of creating a more flexible workplace, and how employee engagement specifically can really generate some good results in business that they can be measured in the short, medium, and long term. There is obviously ways that organizations take this journey. One of our customers at Frond that have gone through similar journeys that Victor has described, Macquarie Media. The kind of organization that they went from an initial intention of standardizing their systems to allow them to work and collaborate in a more virtual world. And that was probably an inspiration that a few years ago, probably let's say go back to 6 or 7 years ago, it was very difficult to paint this in executive minds and see an execution path that they can really put into implementation mode. I think in the last 5 years, emergent technologies, and particularly the one that Google offered to the market, has made this possible. And look, the benefits are great. There are enough evidence in the market that this is taking place today, and the results are obviously they vary depending on organizations. In the case of Macquarie Media, it was about the real-time collaboration, the efficiencies that they created by having those conversations and capturing the IP and the knowledge that needed to be captured and communicated across the wider community in real time. And that obviously leads to increased productivity and the ability to create a more flexible workforce through by enabling your workforce, depending on the manner that you people work in the business, through by working anytime, anywhere, and not make a location an inhibitor for that kind of communication. This is something that if you feel that you got interest in furthering and exploring we're more than happy to propose a conversation with your business. This might take 1 or 2 hours, where we can have conversations in the context of your business. It might take an example like Macquarie Media or any business that is more relevant to your industry, and we take that customer in the day in the life of that particular organization. What's the adoption roadmap in terms of people, process, and technology? How the production usage came to the fore, how the organization started to realize some of the benefits and business performance that we've indicated previously, and of course, the overall experience of dealing with perhaps people that are set in the past versus the champions that enable the change to take place in the marketplace. So, we've arrived to the end of our presentation, and we would like to open the mics for anyone that has got any questions on this topic. There's one question coming in. The question says, how do I show my particular team that collaboration is important, especially if they are stuck in legacy ways? Corinne?
Yeah, so I'll take that. Thanks, Ivan. So from my point of view, it's almost giving your employees the license to be collaborative. So the messaging really needs to come from the top. And if people are given that license or the mandate to be collaborative, then you will start to see a change in that behaviour, which will then become kind of the norm and will become the culture of your organisation. If people are stuck in their legacy ways, that's something that we can certainly work through, but it really does have to come from the top. We need someone that has the pulling power within that organisation to enable people and say, it's okay, we are going to be collaborative, and this is actually what we're going to do.
Yeah, and just to echo Corinne's point, I think the other important point that Corinne touched on, or the important point touched on, was around the sponsorship and the leadership in this instance. So, showing the art of the possible and helping an individual see a different way to work, which may actually save them time or actually provide the what's in it for me for them, which is important through any sort of change and transformation type activity.
Great. Okay, we've got another question coming through. So it is great that organizations can be helped with the collaboration piece, but how does this impact other core systems such as the front-end CRM and the back-end ERP systems that are very critical to businesses? Anyone?
So I guess from our side, the way we tackle any sort of customers going on the journey of these sort of technologies is to look at it holistically in the realm of the customer. So, there's a lot of, CRM type tools that integrate very well with these new technologies, and there's a way to actually, store documents nicely and get that real-time experience within CRM tools. Same with, well, I guess we start at that identifying what are the critical parts of the business and what does that interaction and flow look like to the day-to-day user. We certainly don't want to go about making that day less productive for the people, and there's a inherent respect on the job that they need to get done, but then unlocking the potential of working in better and different ways as an outset. Corinne, anything?
No, I would completely agree with you there.
Yeah, I think from what I see in the market, there's always the topic of prioritization, and there are times when businesses are prioritized by very specific tasks that they want to get done, and to find a way where you can really manage with the resources that are available, how a particular initiative that is going to impact your employee workforce is going to really impact the customer base of that organization. And I think to really balance the two approaches is definitely something that needs to be considered, and understand the dynamics of what's happening in the business in relation to how you prioritize those projects.
Yeah, I was just going to add one other interesting point and insight from, I guess, seeing a lot of customers go through this journey. What we find ultimately is that we start on a journey of making sure that integration with systems and those sort of things that are looked at, and we respect those. But actually, it's interesting when you look 3-6 months back at how the different business functions start using the new technology to solve traditional problems. So whether that's the fact that they can now work in real time on one document across HR and finance and all these other teams, allows different ways to potentially solve the existing problem. So we find that a lot of sort of creative ways come up through organisations through these sort of tools.
Interesting. Okay, we've got, I think we probably finished the time. We're now 12 o'clock, and is there any more?
I think one has just come through, Ivan, at the very last minute.
Okay.
And someone's posted a question, does Fronde help with change management? Absolutely. And any project, anything that is going to impact people needs to have change management. And I guess that's part of working with different organisations to determine how much is required, how much impact is this change going to have. But it's certainly one of our core competencies that we have here.
Well, that is all we have time for now. Thank you very much to our guest Corinne Balmain from Frond and Victor Vasike from Google. Really appreciate your time, guys. And to all our attendees, thank you for your interest, and until next time, feel free to get in touch at ivan.sanchez@frond.com for any questions, feedback, or thoughts you might like to share with us at Frond. And bye for now.